Alright, it's about time I stopped getting made fun of by one of my best friends. Alright, this is Yorkin, the Yoshkin, bringing you another video. It's been a while, hasn't it? Well, I've been kinda busy and I actually got off early today and I could actually get this video done. But more importantly, I got a question for all of you guys that are listening. Do any of you guys really care about Overwatch 2? Like, I have seen little to no hype outside of like the few channels that still cover Overwatch, like say Your Overwatch or something like that. Outside of that, I haven't really seen much hype for Overwatch 2. And with how Blizzard is acting as of recently, I'm completely drained of any goodwill I have of them. No, this isn't really anything to do with the lawsuit, kinda. For the record, until it is proven in court, I do not believe any of the allegations that the state has imposed on Blizzard. It may have happened, it may have not, but they are innocent until proven guilty. With that said, the way Blizzard has been acting since these accusations has been very odd. They have been going around censoring their old games of anything that has any like lewd content at all. Like recently they changed I think this was in World of Warcraft. It was in one of their games. I can't remember which one. It's escaping my head. I'm doing this off the top. But in one of their games, they literally changed a woman that was in a provocative outfit, right, to a bowl of fruit. Like, it looks like they're draining all of fun from their games. Like, that, and they were changing achievements and all of that just so they weren't, like, risque or anything like that. They're draining all their fun. This is all of this has happened after the lawsuit. So, with that said, I'm not really much of a fan of censorship. I do not like them. I do not like censorship at all. I find it appalling. Let things be as they are. If you want to have scantily clad women, sure, go and make it. If you don't go back or don't change existing characters to now not to be scantily clad. If a series is around based on that, leave it alone. If you want to make a new IP where the series isn't like that and they're like covered up and all that, fine, so be it. It's up to you. Just don't do it with existing IP and don't do it, honestly. But what Blizzard's been doing recently was they decided to change McCree's name. The reason for this, if I'm not mistaken, is because he shares the name with somebody on the development team and they caught him saying something that was a bit off-putting. I guess that'd be the best word for it. A bit off-putting. I'm not going to say what he says. I would suggest that you look it up because who knows, YouTube might do something stupid. But he said this one thing, that's all they got on him, right? Now they're trying to change McCree's name. Jesse McCree. Which, by the way, nobody knew that this was based off of a developer before they decided to change this name. It's only after that, right? So, they're going to waste money having everyone that said McCree's name, which is basically the entire cast, redo their voice lines to a new name to God knows what, that won't be iconic as McCree, because that's it's pretty iconic in Overwatch, right? You know McCree based off of his name. All these heroes have their own names, and you kind of remember those. Like, hey, there's a McCree right there. So 5 years of people saying McCree's name down the drain because of, at best, a harmless joke. At worst, a harmless joke. Wouldn't really matter. At worst, a harmless joke. At best, it's something he should not have said. I think he should have said it, by the way. It's words. Get over it. So the entire community has to suffer because one guy said this. Now, with Blizzard's policies of just saying, hey, we'll no longer name characters off of staff and employees, fine, that's a reasonable change. I'm fine with that. But the fact that you're changing his name 5 years after the game came out is very off-putting. I don't get it. Why? You're really just hurting the players mostly, because changing the name isn't gonna really do anything. Like, it just changes his name. It's like, we don't want him to be represented in our glorious, very inclusive game, or whatever. Like, you're just hurting the players. You're also wasting a ton of money, because you're gonna have to redo all of his voice lines. All of them. My question is, why? Why would you do this? It seems like there's a couple of things that I had a problem with Overwatch. One was like the balancing. Like, sometimes balancing would be alright, you'll actually be able to play it. And then other times they like screw up an entire season. Remember when Mercy was like the best at everything? She could do healing, she could just res people right off the bat. She wouldn't be the best at damage, but she could give damage boost to literally everyone. Yeah, remember that? Or when they kept buffing Ana because nobody was learning Ana at first, so they kept giving her more and more buffs, and then she became the most broken healer in the game at the one point. And she made a meta around it. Well, Blizzard's response to, like, players doing what players do best in breaking the game, because that's what the player's job is to do. When you have a large fan base, what they're gonna do is find the best strategy and and win. That's their job. Your job as like a developer is to either A, build around what they're doing, or B, encourage other playstyles. Like, for example, if a few of the changes I found that were completely and utterly reasonable was that you're not allowed to pick the same hero twice. I found that that was great for Overwatch when the game first came out. Like, because you don't want like 2 Tracers, 2 Genjis, and 2 Mercies, right? Or at that point it was like Zenyatta, because he had a busted freaking damage boost. You don't want that. You don't want multiple characters, because it feels like your selection is thin. You're just going to pick 2 of the best characters and then run them. Okay, that's fine. Then they decide to do 2-2-2. I wasn't playing the game at this time. I had no opinion on it. Well, I do have an opinion on it. I have no personal experience on this, but I thought that this was a tad bit strange. I'm fine with you restricting people when it comes to like a competitive mode. Sure, you got to use the best outcome out of this. But I think 2-2-2 is not that creative freedom that you should have gone with. The one that I would have went with is, I thought about this a long time ago, I'd go with a pyramid style. Or it'd be cone, it doesn't matter. Essentially, you have to take at least one of each type. So you could not have 2 healers and 4 tanks. You would have to have at least 1 damage dealer, 1 tank, and 1 support. It would have to be at least 1 of each. This way you can actually flex in between each one instead of just picking 2-2-2. That's pretty boring, because all of them are roughly the same. Yeah, it's a good strategy that works, but it doesn't really provide that flexibility. What if you really need to get to a location really fast, and you were a tank that was a slow tank? Or you were a healer that had no movement speed? Sometimes I wonder about like Blizzard and their balancing. Somehow this came off of like excitement from lack of excitement from Blizzard to talking about their balance. But I guess I've always wanted to talk. I wanted to make a video on their balance in the first place. Back to the topic. Seriously, any of you guys excited? I saw like the Somber thing, and I saw like Noah J456 stream out it, but outside of that, I didn't really catch anyone like too excited about it. I didn't even know about it until like I think I was at work and I was just sitting down, like nothing. It was like, yeah, that looks like a good custom zombie map. I have to watch Noah J play. He's like, oh crap, we need to get this done fast because the stream is coming on. I was like, what stream? It was like Overwatch 2. It was like, I now care very less about this. And here's the thing, I was thinking about getting Overwatch 2 only at like a very steep discount, and when my friend had it. Now I have no interest in this game. I think this game's going to be bad. I actually don't think that it's going to have that big of a install base this time around. Overwatch had that game launched on a beautiful state. Well, the balance wasn't beautiful, but I'm talking about like the player count was great. Like it had tons of people playing, it had tons of new players playing. It was a very fun game to play. This one I don't think is going to have as many. I think Blizzard has driven people off by one, targeting toxic gamers. And sure, people can be mean, but here's the thing. You don't have to see this person ever again. Like, there's a possibility that you're never going to run into him in a lobby unless you're extremely high level. And he's also extremely high level. The chances of you running into him is negligent at best. So, like, I don't think that you should be reporting people unless they're, like, genuinely cheating. Because that's not really making the game fun unless, like, everyone knows he's cheating. And he's like, yeah, go ahead and cheat. We want to see if we can beat you even with the cheats. Like, that's the only time I actually find that, like, cheating's acceptable. When everyone knows that the person's cheating, and they're like, yeah, we want to try to beat you even though you're cheating. Like, that could be genuinely fun. It's like having, let's say a regenerating Junkrat, right? If they had a regenerating Junkrat that kept regenerating health at a steady pace, he'd be legitimately hard to kill. But it could still be doable. And everyone knew that this Junkrat was just like, yeah, this Junkrat's overpowered. Let's see if we can kill him before he kills us. That would be legitimately fun. If everyone knew. But if, say, like, only one person knew that he was like, why can't I kill this Junkrat? Then you look on the kill cam and it's like, it's health regenerating without, like, a Mercy or a healer next to him. This is some BS. Anyway, off topic. The real reason I'm making this video is just saying, who cares? Like, is Overwatch 2 gonna be a good game? Maybe. I don't see it as gonna be a good game. But I want to know your thoughts in the comments. Are you excited for Overwatch 2? I'm not. But who knows, you might be. And if you are, tell me why. And with that said, this has been your Ken, the Yoshkin. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.